Well, hello everybody. I just want to thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to get right in to the lesson of HELOCs. What do you ask? Well, CJ, I would like to ask, aren't you wearing the HELOC shirt tonight? Yep. Yeah. This is the questions that you ask, right? The HELOCs. For those of you who need a HELOC in order to maybe replace your mortgage or replace your student loan or replace this, that, and the other loan, right? You can do it through the HELOC and other lines of credit. But in terms of priority, right? I would put HELOCs at the very top of your priority of lines of credit to obtain, so that you can make sure that you're paying the simple interest versus the amortized interest. But there are some questions that you need to ask your banks, because you know what you're going to be doing? You're going to be interviewing the banks, baby, right? Isn't that something? A lot of banks, they take pride in making sure that their loans go towards the correct person, right? But now the tables have turned, haven't they? And now you need to make sure that they have the correct line of credit product for you, that they have the correct HELOC for you. Why is that? Because every bank does things a little bit different, don't they? Every credit union does things a little bit different than the other ones. Some are better than others in certain areas. The area that we're going to tackle today is going to be HELOCs, home equity lines of credit. I didn't say home equity loans. No. We want to stay away from the HELOs, okay? And when the banker tells you, hey, we got a HELO for a much better, no. Because the loan is what? Amortized, okay? And then the HELOC is simple interest. You see, you know better now, right? Now, when you know better, you have the opportunity to do better. So we're going to go over the questions that you're going to ask the bank. You're going to interview the bank, and you're going to see if that line of credit product is good for you. Are you ready? Awesome. Let's do this. So the first question that we want to ask is, do you charge points? Now, I know for a fact, right, that some of you are saying, well, wait a minute. I mean, of course they charge points, right? Well, no. Not necessarily, right? Because, what is that? That's a percentage, right? A percentage of the money that the bank or the lending officer has to take. It's just a part of their policy. It's a part of who they are, all right? Some charge the interest rate, some do not. And some are higher than others, some are lower than others. You're going to make sure that you ask the question, do you charge points? If so, how much, right? Absolutely. So that's very important, because you're interviewing these banks, you're interviewing these credit unions, and you want to make sure you measure up. So go ahead and take a pad, right? A pen, and make sure you're jotting down these answers, separate it out, okay? Have this bank, okay, this is what they said for these questions. This bank, this credit union, have it separated out so that you know which ones you want to go to, all right? Number 2, any additional costs? Do you have any additional costs, right, to this home equity line of credit? And if they have the additional costs, you know what else you're going to ask? You're going to ask, what are those additional costs? And if they hem-haw around and they say, well, we don't know exactly what they'll, move on. They just made your job easier, all right? Because what we want in financial institutions is what? Transparency. Oh yes, we need transparency, especially when it's our capital that's getting built and it's our capital that is working for us, all right? So ask, number 2 is ask, are there any additional costs, okay? Number 3, you're going to ask, what are the approval times? What are the approval times? Now, notice that each of these questions is something that you know that, hey, if it falls in between this range, that's very acceptable to me, or it's unacceptable, right? I don't need to tell you, hey, make sure it comes between these times. You already know. The approval times, if the approval time is a year, you already know that's not going to work, right? Okay, it all depends on what your vision is. Do you need to get this done in a week? Then you can't have 2 weeks. You can't have 8 days. You need the week or less, right? Approval times. Number 4, how far, okay? How far is the margin above prime rate? How far is the margin above prime rate? Now, what is prime rate? Well, let's go ahead and break the words down, right? Prime, as in prime beef, or as in, premium beef, as in that preferred rate, right? Absolutely. How far, what's the margin above that prime rate that you're going to charge me on this home equity line of credit? Absolutely. So you're going to need to make sure that that margin works for you. And you're going to line it up. And you're going to see, well, which bank works for me. And when you get that, you'll be closer to finding the HELOC that's right for you. We have one more question. One more question. What is the cap for the interest rate? Absolutely. What is the cap for the interest rate? What's the cap, man? Tell me what the cap for the interest rate is. Why? Because a little known secret, and I go into this in my book, a little known secret of the credit card companies is that sometimes when they say fixed rate, they don't really mean fixed rate. Okay, that's why you got to read the fine print. The large print give it, but the small print takes away. And that's why you got to read that fine print. That's why you got to ask these bankers, what's the cap? And if the cap is too high for you, guess what you can do? You can move on to another bank. But these are the questions, and we are not done. Okay? I still got some more questions that you need to ask in order to get the best HELOC for you. But let me move out of the way. Let you get these questions down. And don't worry, I'm going to share with you the rest of the questions to ask on another day. All right? Listen, folks, continue to stay tuned. Like this channel, love this channel, thumbs up it, comment, give some feedback, and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your mama, tell your papa, tell the family members, tell your community, tell everybody around the world. Ask them, are you velocitized? If not, get them velocitized, all right? God bless you. Have a good night, and we've got some more questions for you.